Hello everyone. Today we will analyze critically Charlotte Bronte's novel Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre is written in the form of an autobiography. The novel can be regarded as an autobiography, and the author Charlotte Bronte used personal pronoun I. However, it must be kept in mind that the novel is the autobiography of Jane Eyre and not of Charlotte Bronte. Of course, it is true that some of Charlotte Bronte's own painful experiences have gone into Jane Eyre's account of her life. The novel is written in the form of an autobiography, but this is not an autobiography of Charlotte Bronte, but this is an autobiography of Jane Eyre. But some experiences of Jane Eyre are similar with experiences of Charlotte Bronte's. But the novel should not be treated as Charlotte Bronte's autobiography in disguise. The novel thus reminds us of Charles Dickens' novel David Copperfield, which to contain some of the actual experiences of the author. The narration of the novel can you can find the narration of the novel as pathos. Pathos is the keynote of the novel. This novel is on the whole bleak, sad, and very depressing. The subject of this novel is the trials and tribulations of the heroine who tells the story. Jane Eyre is almost a tragic figure from the beginning onwards and remains until the very end when at last she achieves the fulfillment of her deepest desire through her marital union with the man, Mr. Rochester, whom she has loved for a long time. Jane Eyre's present experiences are few and far between, and the story is, on the whole, very moving and poignant. So, we have seen the point pathos, the keynote of the novel. Now, we will see that the story of the novel Jane Eyre is a gripping story. It attracts us, and reader holds the novel from beginning to the end. Jane Eyre is a novel which contains a most interesting and almost gripping story. Novel is worth reading for its plot interest alone, apart from other considerations. We go through the story almost breathlessly and find ourselves unable to put aside the book till we have reached the end. The story has several well defined stages. The first stage of the story is Jane's experience at Gateshead Hall, where she becomes a victim of the carelessness of her aunt, Mrs. Reed, and her three children. The next is Jenner's stay at Lowood School, where she spent 6 years as a student, and the next stage is Jenner's stay at Lowood School, where she spent 6 years as a student and 2 years as a teacher. Here, one of her most outstanding experiences is her friendship with Helen Burns, who is a disguised portrayal of Charlotte Bronte's own sister, Maria, who had died very young of tuberculosis. Next stage is Jane Eyre's life is her stay at Thornfield Hall as a governess to a little French girl called Adele. This stage is the most important in the story because it represents the most conspicuous, the most romantic, and also the most painful experiences of Jane's life. Here she falls in love with Mr. Rochester, who happens to be an already married man, having a maid wife living in the same house as himself. Then comes Jane's departure from Thornfield Hall and her sad plight when, weary and hungry, she finds it impossible to get any food or shelter till she arrives at the house of a clergyman and missionary by the name of St. John Rivers. Here she has a brief respite from misery and feels quite comfortable till she begins to be pressed hard and almost harassed by St. John's proposal that she should marry him. The final stage in her life comes when she arrives at Fundine and gets married to Mr. Rochester, who is now a blind man and whose wife had perished at Thornfield Hall in the course of a fire. which she had herself started. All these vicissitudes in the life of Jane Eyre constitute a story of unusual interest. Now we will see the what is the structure of the novel Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre has been charged by some critics with being a novel having a very loose structure. But the charge is ill-conceived and not sustainable. An autobiography is inevitably a sprawling narrative converting either the whole or a very large part of the life of the central character, who in the present case is Jane Eyre. Autobiography covers the different stages in the life of the hero or the heroine, or of both, and as such, it cannot be expected to possess a compact or close-knit construction. The word loose for the structure of this novel may aptly be used, but not in any derogatory sense. An autobiography, apart from narrating the varied experiences of the hero or the heroine, is bound also to contain a large number of characters because the hero or the heroine would naturally and inevitably come into contact with a large variety of persons in the course of his or her life. The unity of novel written in the autobiographical mode consists in the fact that our attention throughout the narrative is focused upon the narrator of the story, even though the other characters who figure in the novel may attract our attention and arouse our interest at various stages in the story. The subsidiary characters in general to contribute and in a large measure to the interest of the whole, but genre herself remains a towering personality in the novel, and Mr. Rochester comes very close to her in the elaborateness of the portrayal. When we have a thorough reading of the novel, we find that the Jane Eyre is a romantic novel. In this respect, it differs considerably from Jane Austen's novels, which may be described as wholly realistic with the romantic elements intruding only occasionally. Jane Eyre too is markedly realistic, and yet the label romantic is more appropriate for it. The chief romantic element in this novel is the passionate love affair of Jane Eyre and Mr. Rochester. Mr. Rochester is by no means a handsome man, nor is Jane Eyre a pretty girl. Besides, there is a great disparity of ages between Jane Eyre, who is just 20, and Mr. Rochester is approaching 40. In one sense, therefore, this love affair between a young girl who is plain looking and an elderly man who is physically almost unattractive appears to be an unromantic affair, but the intensity and the fervor of love on both sides, the constancy of love on both sides, and the almost obsessive nature of this love on both sides make it a highly romantic affair. In this novel, there is an abundance of improbabilities and absurdities. Although the novel is realistic, but the novel contains several, like in several Shakespeare's plays, a number of improbabilities and absurdities, which mark the artistic quality of the work. The very fact that the Mr. Rochester's midwife is living in the same house as himself and has been confined to a room in the top story of the house. Without her presence being known even to the housekeeper, Mrs. Fairfax, constitutes a most glaring absurdity. The visit of Mr. Mason to Thornfield Hall, and he is going to meet his maid sister Bertha in the room to which she is confined, and constitute another absurdity because Mr. Mason had specifically been asked to by Mr. Rochester to wait till the following day to meet her. Mr. Rochester himself is a mysterious figure who remains away from Thornfield Hall most of the time and pays only occasional visits to Thornfield Hall, staying there only for a few days each time. Mr. Rochester is a riddle to all the servants at Thornfield Hall and even to the housekeeper, Mrs. Fairfax, who is related to him. Mr. Rochester is undertaking the responsibility for the upbringing of Adele, whom he has no relations at all, is yet another absurdity. Mr. Rochester attempts to rescue his mad wife who had herself set fire to the house, is a most unconvincing act of self sacrifice. In fact, to us it seems to be an act of madness on his part to risk his own life to save a mad woman who had been a source of torment to him of all days. Then the discovery that Saint John and his two sisters are Jane Eyre's cousins is a glaring improbability. It is a coincidence which does not carry connections with us. And next point that we can find in the novel is that the novel is full of dramatic events and situations. Jane Eyre abounds in events and situations which are dramatic and therefore exciting. Jane Eyre's attitude of defiance towards the boy John Reed and towards her aunt Mrs. Reed constitutes a dramatic episode because she can no longer tolerate the unsympathetic, careless, and even cruel treatment offered by the Reed family at Lowood School. Mrs. Cassard's degrading treatment of Helen Barnes and the manner of the death of that pious girl are dramatic incidents, as is the humiliation of Jane Eyre by Mr. Brockles, who describes her own openly as a liar and as a deceitful girl, the outbreak of typhus, and the many deaths which take place at Lowood School because of it are another dramatic episode. Jane Eyre's encounter with a horseman who is no other than Mr. Rochester himself is a dramatic event because the encounter takes place under unusual circumstances. The horse slips on the ice-covered pathway, and both the horse and the rider tumble to the ground, which, to the dismay of Jane Eyre, most dramatic is Mr. Rochester's declaration to Jane Eyre of his love for her after having given her the impression that he is going to marry Blanche Ingram. Another dramatic episode is the aimless journey which Jane Eyre undertakes along a road over which she had never travelled before, and of course, the final meeting between Jane and Mr. Rochester, with the latter not expecting in it the least, is highly dramatic. And at the same time, we can see that the novel is also full of melodramatic events and situations. The novel genre abounds in melodramatic events and situations as well. A melodramatic event or situation is one which is characterized by a certain degree of exaggeration. A melodramatic event or situation is something thrilling, stirring, and sensational, and such an event or situation excites a feeling of surprise or amazement or bewilderment to an excessive degree. Mr. Rochester's mad wife coming downstairs in the middle of the night in a stealthy manner and setting fire to his bed curtains is a melodramatic event. And equally melodramatic is Janet's waking up Mr. Rochester just in time to save his life from the fire. The manner in which Mr. Rochester's mad wife is confined to a room at the top of the house is another bit of melodrama. And though kept in the custody of a maidservant called Grace Poole, the madwoman yet manages occasionally to slip out of the room to do some mischief or the other because of Grace Poole's negligence caused by her weakness for gin and beer. Much more melodramatic is the madwoman's wounding her own brother, Mr. Mason, with a knife and biting him severely on his shoulder, making Mr. Mason howl with the pain and awakening all the guests who are sleeping that night in Thornton Hall. Melodramatic also is the madwoman's act in setting fire to Thornton Hall and accidentally to her death on the ground. And melodramatic is Mr. Rochester's mad attempt to save the madwoman's life. Next, we find that the novel genre is essentially an essentially realistic novel. Genre is essentially a realistic novel. Perhaps the most outstanding piece of realism in this novel is the treatment of the theme of the childhood. The manner in which the 10-year-old Jane's sufferings and secrets thoughts and have been described in the opening chapter of the novel is simply remarkable. The description of the conditions under which the orphan girls live and study in the charity school called Lowood School is again marvelous because of its realism. But the most striking element of realism in this novel is the portrayal of characters. Charlotte Bronte excels in realistic character drawing. Of course, the most outstanding portrayal are those of Jane Eyre herself and Mr. Rochester. Charlotte Bronte's delineation of Jane Eyre is most authentic, and Mr. Rochester, although mysterious and puzzling figure, yet convinces us by virtue of the realism of his portrayal. Especially when he gives to Jane Eyre an account of his past dissolute life, the subsidiary characters to have been drawn in the most realistic manner, and among them Mrs. Reed, Mr. Brocklehurst, Miss Temple, Mrs. Fairfax, and last but not least Blanche Graham, and the members of the Rivers family to have been depicted in a realistic manner, among them St. John being the most striking figure.